Hi everyone, this is Usha Pandit, your Mindsprings English teacher. Today we are going to do a basic lesson on nouns. Okay? Nouns is the first lesson you do in grammar and you do it in your lower primary classes. But we'll re-look at nouns because when you do it in your primary classes, you do it at an extremely simple level, which is not quite enough as you go up into higher classes and where you do better grammar and where grammar and nouns become an important part of excellent writing. Okay? Nouns can actually be the muscles of good writing. So you really need to pay attention to nouns and not dismiss them as a game that you played with name, place, animal, thing. So that's not all about nouns. It's good to have that as a kind of a cornerstone to know what nouns are, but it's not really all that nouns are all about. So let's look at nouns. So the first one is, what is a noun? All of us know it's a naming word, and we are looking at people, places, animals, things. Easy. But that one, action names, that's where the complication comes. The names of actions are also nouns. Why? Because it's a name. So if I say, I will go swimming, I'm talking about the name of the action that I'm going to do. Isn't it right? I'm not saying I'm swimming, then it's an action. But if I say I love swimming, then the word swimming can be substituted with golf or with carom. I can say I love a certain actor. So I can replace it with a noun. So therefore, it's the name of an action. This is something that we are not told in the beginning, and therefore lots and lots of complications arise when we finally come across names of actions and we call them verbs. They are actually nouns, okay, and they have a special name. They are called gerunds, but we'll talk about that maybe in a later class. Today we are going to just look at basically at the kind of nouns we have and how you identify them. So I put you an ID list. How do you identify a noun? If you are in doubt about a noun, now very common nouns like your car, desk, watch, boy, girl, you will not have any problems identifying those nouns because they're easy. They're very, very simple. But when you come into more complicated nouns like the group called the abstract noun, that's where the problems begin. So if I ask you about gravity or democracy, or I ask you for predicament, or I give you words like that, you have no idea what part of speech it is. You're not sure it's a noun because it doesn't seem to have a thing-like feel, right? And so, how do you identify them? There are four ways. One is you put an article in front of that word. Any word. If you can put an article, a, an, or the, and it can fit. So I can say the boy. You do not put this in front of proper nouns. That's the only thing to remember. You never say the Usha. That's wrong, right? Except for proper nouns, all other nouns, you can put a, an, or the as an article in front of it and it will make sense. So if I say the democracy was in danger, the fits very well. We must not go against the gravity. It will make sense. So if you put that, you will know that it's clearly a noun. So one is the article. The other one is the possessive adjective. If you say my, your, ours, which are possessive adjectives, if I say, like I say, my bag or her coat, I can say our democracy is our strength, or our freedom is something that we protect. See, I can put a possessive adjective in front of freedom or democracy and it will make complete sense. Or if I say his patience was at an end, you know that patience is a noun. It's an abstract noun. Okay, very, very simple, very easy. Just put the possessive adjective. And what are they? My, your, our, his, her, its. Isn't it? These are your and their bag, its bag. So that's your possessive adjective. The third one is to use a demonstrative adjective. If I say this freedom is of no use, this misery is getting too much for me, then I know that misery is a noun, because I can use this or that or these or those, which are demonstrative adjectives, in front of that noun. Okay, so that's the third one. And the fourth way to identify is to look at the adjective. So if I say terrible misery, what is terrible? Adjective. Horrible misery, adjective. Suppose I have another one like obedience, and I say, is that a noun? Is that really a noun? I'll say complete obedience. So I'm putting an adjective in front of it, isn't it? And therefore I know that obedience has to be a noun. Good obedience. If you think that complete and all, you're not very sure, you put good, bad, nice, I want excellent, put something like that, excellent obedience. It makes sense, complete sense, and therefore you can be sure that obedience is a noun and it is an abstract noun. Okay? So I've shown you 4 ways by which you can take any word, use these in front of them and identify your nouns. Your biggest problem will be with your abstract noun. The other nouns will be pretty easy. Okay, let's look at the endings. Now, nouns come with particular endings. They'll come with the ending NESS, like happiness, sadness, carefulness, no, not carefulness, madness, sweetness. So you'll get a lot of ness words. And then you'll get mint, statement, predicament, excitement. So you'll get a lot of mint words. You'll get hood. So you'll get words like childhood, widowhood, not statesmanship. You'll get statesmanship, you'll get friendship, you'll get hardship, all these ship words. You'll get itty, brevity, or you'll get tea as in beauty, or you'll get shin as in mention, the prediction, the extension, or you'll get SION as in the tension or the pension. You'll get SION words. You'll get ANC and you'll get ENC as in obedience, ANC as in distance, and you will get or ist, ari. Lawyer or doctor, ist, pianist, ari, aviary or beneficiary, those kind of words, the ari endings. So you will know these are your endings for, and you will get hundreds of words like this. I can't right now think on my feet, but there are tons and tons of words with these endings. When you see these endings, you can be quite sure that they are abstract nouns. Okay, so abstract nouns is your big group, and that's the one you want to be very careful about. Those are your endings. Let's look at the types of nouns now, the very basic types of nouns. One is the proper noun. Proper nouns are easy because they are names. Names of people mainly. Your name, my name, your surname, my surname are all proper names. That's very, very easy. Places. So if I say Lower Parel, Kolaba, if I say Delhi, Connaught Place, all of these are proper nouns. Buildings, Paradise, Colony, Sea Heights, Mehra's house, any of these are also proper nouns because they are particular names that are given to particular buildings. Remember, they should not be generic. They should not be common to a lot of things all over the world. They should belong to one particular unit. That is when you call it a proper noun. Cities, books, the names of books, the shops names. So if I say Bombay Store, Mehta's Groceries, any of those kind of names are Shop names are proper nouns. And then special animal names. Now if I have a dog, dog is not a proper name for an animal. You can't say animal is a common name and dog is a proper name, or tiger is the proper name. It's not. But if my dog is called Tiger, or if my dog is called Lucky, then that is a proper name because I have named him Tiger. So you must understand the difference. Don't take animals and call them proper names because they are not. They are common. And then you have months and days and planets and this kind of thing. These words are capitalized and they come under the proper nouns because they are special names that are given to very few planets or very few items, so to speak. Common nouns, now there's a huge confusion. Common nouns are very easy. So you can look around the room and everything that you see is a common noun. They are concrete nouns. You can see them, you can touch them, you can feel them, most of them. Even if you can't see air, you can feel it. So it is still a common noun. So all those are basically things and they are common nouns. However, often people have a doubt between whether it's common or proper. Now that is a huge unit on its own and we will do it leisurely on another day. But just to remember that they are objects, animals, generic places. So if you say the banks are closed tomorrow, I can't put a capital B and I cannot call it a proper noun. But if I say Bank of India is where I bank, then that Bank of India is a proper noun because it's the name of the bank. Okay? So this is something to remember. Occupations, doctor, lawyer, all of them are common nouns. If you say my doctor will visit me tomorrow, it's a common noun and it is not spelt with a capital. But if I say Dr. Rao is our family doctor, then doctor there is a capital D and an abbreviation R with a full stop, and then Rao with a capital R and AO. So that's a proper name and a proper noun. Now you come to collective. Collectives are fun. There are several collectives and there are some collectives that we should use very carefully. Some collectives that we should use because they sound good when you use them. But they are collective names that are given to a group of like objects or like animals or like categories. Okay, collective name that is given. So you have a bouquet of flowers, a bunch of papers, or a herd of cattle, a school of fish, a flock of sheep, a set of books, a flight of stairs, a flood of work, a galaxy of stars, a murder of, you'd be surprised, crows, a murder of crows, a hand of bananas, and a pack of wolves. So these are some. There are hundreds of these and some of them are very, very interesting. But if you put them in your writing, you smatter them in your writing. Don't put lots and lots of them. But if you say throw in 2 or 3 here and there, it's extremely impressive. So collective nouns. So that's an easy one. Now we come to the big daddy, the abstract noun. The abstract noun is the muscle of nouns, okay, and it has to be used widely when you get into more serious writing in your higher classes or even for your examinations. This is the noun group that they are going to test you on. And all those endings that I talked to you about, many of them will be part of the abstract noun. Not the ER and OR because that's a doctor and lawyer and that's not an abstract noun. But basically abstract nouns are the opposite of concrete nouns. Your common nouns are concrete and your abstract nouns are not. They are abstract. You can't feel, see, touch them, and they are often not just feelings. So very often with abstract nouns in the primary classes you will get kindness, right? Kindness as an example of an abstract noun. After that nobody touches abstract nouns again. But abstract nouns are a large group, because it's not just feelings, but it's also ideas and concepts. Like I said, plutocracy and democracy and all these big items, philosophy, all these are ideas. They are concepts. So if you say childhood is a concept, isn't it? So you can have a child, you can see a child and you can love a child, but you cannot grasp childhood. How will you catch childhood? It's not a human being. What is childhood? Childhood is this entire range of experiences, isn't it? It's not something that you can hold, or you can not. It's not even about concrete. It's about the vastness of that concept. So for every childhood is different. Your childhood is not the same as my childhood. So if you want to capture my childhood, you'll have to catch all the little pieces that existed during my childhood. So look at it, there is a vastness about the abstract noun that's fascinating. That's why it's powerful. So therefore, friend, you can have a friend, but you cannot count friendship. You cannot put it in a box. You cannot say it's so many kilos. You can't count it, and you can only experience it. And the way you experience that friendship will be very different from the way your friend experiences your friendship. Look at the complication. It's not even equal. And knife. You can see a knife, hold a knife, but its sharpness is an abstract. Right? So therefore it's a fascinating one. Its qualities like kindness, etc., and its ideas and concepts and feelings, okay, which is your sadness and kindness and meanness and all those feelings that come in, all those are abstract nouns. So abstract nouns, is something that we can even do separately because it's such a big and wonderful unit. So those are your 4 nouns: proper, common, collective and abstract. And abstract is the big one. Now I'm going to talk to you about some observations. Capitalization does not always mean it's a proper noun. So sometimes you have capitalizations, but that doesn't automatically make it a proper noun. For example, you take the subject English. Whenever you write English, it has to be a capital. That doesn't apply to geography or history necessarily, but English or any language for that matter has to be capitalized. But it does not come in the category of proper nouns. It is still a common noun. There are people who differ, grammarians who fight on all this. So I would always tell people, do not sweat the small stuff. Even if you got it a little wrong about whether it's proper or common, don't worry about it. Just capitalize your English. Don't make the mistake of making it small. That's the main thing to remember. The other one is most neglected group is abstract nouns. I just told you about that. Capitalization decides whether it is a common noun or a proper noun. Suppose I give you a sentence without any punctuation and you ask me, is it a proper or a common noun? I would say to you, are you going to capitalize it or not capitalize it? Some kinds of words in sentences, the meaning depends upon what you do with it. For example, the association of doctors met once a week. Okay? No punctuation. Got a capital, can have a capital there. Association of doctors, all small. What does it mean? It means there is an association of ordinary doctors and they meet once a week. This is fine, no problem. But if I capitalize it and I say the capital association of capital doctors met once a week, then this association of doctors becomes a name. It's the name of the association, and therefore that is a proper noun. So you see, depending on whether you choose to capitalize it or not, that will decide whether it's a proper noun or a common noun. So think about this. Do not, as I said, sweat the small stuff. Be very, very careful with certain conventions. When you read, pay attention mindfully to the kind of punctuation that you find, especially for the kind of doubts that you have, and you will be absolutely safe. So we come to the end of this beginning for nouns. Remember the 4 IDs that I gave you. Remember the endings, most of the endings. Try and identify them when you're reading a book or a novel or a newspaper and you say, oh, that's an abstract noun, that's an abstract noun. You know, in your mind you need to practice a little bit. And it can be quite fun. Actually, you look at an advertisement and you say, that's a proper noun, that's an abstract noun. That becomes, then you become an expert. Because you don't need any teacher, you are practicing quite heavily on a daily basis and you're having fun with it, okay? So till we meet again, don't forget to subscribe, go to the description box, and in that description box you'll find a link and you'll find this book, this Grammar with Ease book. This is meant for grades 1 to 5. It's a very basic book. So if you are a beginner with your grammar, this is one book that you might want to look at because it's got some very simple examples. It does not kind of complicate things. It doesn't give you more than you need, and you'll have an excellent foundation. Also, if you need any help with particular parts of speech, you want to ask questions about nouns, put that in the comments box. So till we meet again, keep practicing, keep smiling. Goodbye.